Where'd you get this car? Huh? Where'd you steal it from?
Officer, I own this car.
Shut up! You people always got an excuse. Always think you're smart.
Oh my God.
They'd been watching him for 3 blocks. Officer Kyle Dutton and his partner radioing back and forth about the suspicious vehicle weaving through the Beverly Hills with tinted windows and out-of-state plates. When they finally pulled Langston Mercer over at the corner of Cannon Drive in Brighton Way, Dutton approached with his hand already on his weapon, and within 60 seconds had Mercer in handcuffs, face pressed against the hot metal of his own car, screaming, "You're going to tell me which store you hit, or I'm adding resisting arrest to the charges." What Dutton didn't know was that Mercer's attorney was already on speed dial, that the CEO he was brutalizing had direct access to the governor's office, and that this traffic stop would cost the BHPD $4.5 million in settlements and 3 careers, including his own. Before we go further, what city or country are you watching from? Drop it in the comments. We love seeing where you're tuning in from. If you believe everyone deserves to be treated with dignity, regardless of what they drive or wear, then hit the like and subscribe button. The afternoon sun was brutal on Cannon Drive, turning the white concrete into a mirror that reflected heat back up in waves. It was 4:23 p.m. on a Thursday, and the street was busy with the usual Beverly Hills crowd. Women in yoga pants carrying small dogs, men in polo shirts talking too loud on phones, valets running between luxury cars lined up outside restaurants with names no one could have pronounced. Langston Mercer had just left Battaglia Beverly Hills, the Italian menswear boutique at 261 North Beverly Drive, with 3 large shopping bags sitting in his passenger seat. His Mercedes-AMG GT was midnight blue, freshly detailed that morning, with Georgia plates that read MRCE-R1. He was checking his phone for an address when he noticed the police cruiser in his rearview mirror. It had been behind him since he turned off Wilshire Boulevard, staying 2 car lengths back, matching his speed exactly. Langston felt that familiar tightening in his chest, the one that came every time he saw red and blue lights, even when they weren't for him. He checked his speedometer, 28 in a 35 zone. His registration was current, his insurance was paid, everything was legal. Except it didn't matter. The lights came on at the intersection of Cannon and Brighton Way. Langston's stomach dropped. He put on his turn signal, pulled over carefully, and put the car in park. His hands went to the steering wheel at 10 and 2, exactly where they taught you to put them when you were a black man in America, trying not to get shot during a traffic stop. Officer Kyle Dutton was out of his cruiser before his partner had even unbuckled. He'd been with the Beverly Hills Police Department for 9 years, and in those 9 years, he'd developed a reputation. Not the good kind. His fellow officers called him Dutton the Button because of how fast his finger moved toward confrontation. He'd had 7 complaints filed against him in the last 3 years alone. 2 for excessive force, 3 for racial profiling, all of them dismissed after internal review. He approached the Mercedes like he was approaching a crime scene, one hand on his holster, his jaw set in that way that said he'd already decided how this was going to go. His partner, Officer Craig Whitmore, was still in the passenger seat of the cruiser, talking into his radio. Craig was younger, only 2 years on the force, and he'd learned quickly that when Dutton got like this, it was better to just let him lead. Dutton rapped his knuckles on the driver's window hard enough to make Langston flinch. "Roll it down, now!" Langston pressed the button and the window descended smoothly. The leather interior of the Mercedes breathed expensive air out into the street. He kept his hands visible on the wheel. "Good evening, officer. Can you tell me why I was—" "Step out of the vehicle." "I'm sorry?" "I said step out of the vehicle, right now." Langston's throat went dry. "Officer, I'd like to know why I was pulled over." "I wasn't speeding. I wasn't—" Dutton's hand moved to his gun, not drawing it, just resting it there, making a point. "I'm not going to ask you again. Step out of the vehicle." There was something in Dutton's eyes that Langston recognized immediately. It wasn't curiosity. It wasn't concern. It was certainty. The kind of certainty that came from assumptions that had already been made, conclusions that had already been drawn. Dutton had looked at this car, at this man, at these shopping bags, and he decided what the story was before Langston had even opened his mouth. Langston took a slow breath and reached for his seatbelt. "I'm unbuckling my seatbelt now, officer. My hands are..." "Don't tell me what you're doing, just do it." The seatbelt clicked free, and Langston pushed open the door slowly. Carefully, he stepped out onto the hot concrete, and immediately Dutton was on him. "Hands on the car, spread your legs." "Officer, I think there's been a misunderstanding." "Hands on the car!" Dutton grabbed Langston's shoulder and spun him around, slamming him chest first into the side of the Mercedes, hard enough that the impact echoed down the street. A woman walking her dog stopped and stared. A valet across the street pulled out his phone. Langston's face was pressed against the hot metal, his jacket bunching up under Dutton's grip. He could feel the officer's knee between his shoulder blades, could smell the coffee on his breath. "Where'd you get the car?" "I bought it. I own..." "Where'd you get the bags? Which store did you hit?" "I didn't hit any store. I shopped at Battaglia. The receipt is in the..." Dutton's knee pressed harder. "You think I'm stupid? You think I don't know what I'm looking at? A punk like you doesn't walk into Battaglia and drop 10 grand on suits. You don't drive a car like this. You don't wear a watch like that." By now, Officer Whitmore had finally gotten out of the cruiser. He walked over slowly, his hand on his belt, his face neutral but his eyes uncertain. He'd seen Dutton do this before. "Kyle, maybe we should just..." "Run the plates," Dutton snapped, "and check if any stores reported thefts in the last 2 hours. High-end merchandise." Langston tried to turn his head, but Dutton pushed harder. "Officer, if you run my name, you'll see I have no record. I have identification in my wallet. If you just let me..." "Shut up." Dutton pulled one of Langston's arms behind his back. The metal handcuffs were cold against his wrist. "You're detaining me? For what?" "For suspected theft. For matching the description of a suspect. For whatever the hell I want." The second cuff clicked into place and Langston felt his chest tighten. Not fear anymore. Something else. The kind of feeling that came from doing everything right and still ending up face down on hot concrete because a cop looked at your skin and decided you must be a criminal. Traffic on Cannon Drive was starting to slow. People were stopping. Phones were coming out. A small crowd was forming on the sidewalk outside the Italian restaurant next door. Dutton yanked Langston upright and shoved him toward the police cruiser. Langston stumbled, caught himself, and that's when Dutton grabbed him by the back of his neck. "You want to resist? Go ahead, make my day." "I'm not resisting. I'm complying." "You're running your mouth is what you're doing?" Whitmore finally spoke up, his voice quiet. "Kyle, his plates came back clean. No warrants, no reports of theft. The car's registered to a Langston Mercer at an address in Buckhead, Georgia." Dutton didn't even look at him. "Then he stole the plates too. Check the VIN." Langston closed his eyes. His head was pounding. His wrists were already going numb from how tight the cuffs were. Across the street, he could see at least 8 people recording on their phones. "Officer Dutton," Langston said, his voice tight, "you're making a mistake." Dutton leaned in close, his breath hot on Langston's ear. "The only mistake here is you thinking you could roll through my city in a stolen car wearing stolen clothes, and I wouldn't notice. You people always think you're smarter than us. You're not. You people." There it was. Langston stopped talking. He went completely still because he realized in that moment that nothing he said would matter. No amount of explaining, no amount of complying, no amount of being calm would change what was happening. Dutton had already decided who he was. "Kyle, come on, man," Whitmore said, stepping closer. "Everything's coming back clean. Maybe we should just..." "Search the vehicle," Dutton cut him off. "I want to see what else he's got in there. We need probable cause for..." "I've got probable cause. He's nervous. He's sweating. That's suspicious behavior." It was 89 degrees outside. Everyone was sweating. Dutton walked back to their Mercedes and yanked open the passenger door. The shopping bags tumbled out onto the street, designer boxes spilling across the concrete. He grabbed one of the bags and dumped it. 2 suits and garment bags fell out, along with the receipt. Dutton picked up the receipt and squinted at it. His face didn't change. "This doesn't prove anything." You could have stolen the whole bag. The receipt has my name on it, Langston said from the cruiser. It has the store's phone number. You can call them right now and verify. I don't need to verify shit. I know what I'm looking at. A man in a business suit had stopped on the sidewalk, his briefcase in one hand, phone in the other. He was recording too. So was the woman with the dog. So were 3 teenage girls who'd come out of a frozen yogurt shop. Everyone was watching. Everyone was recording. And no one was helping. Dutton pulled everything out of the car. The shopping bags, the gym bag from the back seat, the sunglasses from the center console. He tossed it all into the street like he was searching a crack house, not a legally parked vehicle on one of the wealthiest streets in America. What's this? Dutton held up a Louis Vuitton bag from the back seat. Gifts from my mother. The receipt is inside. Dutton opened it. Inside were a scarf, a wallet, and another receipt. He barely looked at it before tossing the bag aside. Whitmore was standing back now, his arms crossed, his face troubled. He'd pulled out his phone twice like he was thinking about calling someone, but he never did. Langston watched all of this from the back of the police cruiser, handcuffs digging into his wrists, his $3,000 suit covered in street dust, his face burning with humiliation. A group of tourists had stopped to take pictures, not of the scene, of him, like he was part of the attraction. The criminal in handcuffs, the spectacle. Find anything? Whitmore finally asked. Give me a minute, Dutton growled, still searching. Kyle, everything's checking out. The car's registered to him. The receipts have his name. We don't have anything. We have a suspicious individual with expensive merchandise and out-of-state plates in a high theft area. Beverly Hills isn't a high theft area. It is today. Dutton slammed the car door and walked back to where Langston was sitting. He leaned down, his face inches from the window. Here's what's going to happen. I'm going to call every high-end store in a 5-mile radius. I'm going to ask if they're missing anything. If even one of them says yes, you're going to jail. And I'm going to make sure you stay there. Langston stared back at him. His jaw was clenched so tight he could feel his teeth grinding. And if they all say no? Dutton smiled. It wasn't a friendly smile. Then I'll think of something else. Dutton made the first call at 4:51 p.m., standing 10 feet away from the cruiser so Langston could see him but not hear him clearly. He was on the phone with someone at Saks Fifth Avenue, his free hand gesturing like he was describing a major crime scene. Langston watched through the window as Dutton nodded, frowned, then shook his head. The call ended and Dutton immediately dialed another number. By now, the crowd on Cannon Drive had grown to about 20 people. Most of them were still recording. A few were talking among themselves, pointing at Langston in the back of the cruiser like he was an animal in a zoo. An elderly white woman in a Chanel suit whispered something to her friend, and they both looked at him with disgust. He could read their faces. They'd already decided he was guilty. Inside the cruiser, Langston's hands had gone completely numb. The handcuffs were cutting off his circulation, and his shoulders were screaming from being locked in the same position for almost 30 minutes. He'd asked Whitmore twice to loosen them. Both times, Whitmore had looked away and said nothing. Can I at least sit forward? Langston had asked. My shoulders are... Just stay still, Whitmore had muttered, not making eye contact. So Langston stayed still. Because that's what you did when you were black and handcuffed in the back of a police car. You stayed still. You stayed quiet. You didn't give them any excuse to make it worse. Dutton was on his third call now, this time with Battaglia. Langston could see his face change as whoever was on the other end talked. Dutton's jaw tightened. His eyes narrowed. Then he said something short and angry before hanging up. He walked back to the cruiser and yanked open the door. They confirmed you were in the store, said you're a regular customer. Langston didn't say anything. What was there to say? I told you so? That doesn't mean anything, Dutton continued. Thieves scope out stores all the time, build relationships, earn trust. Then they hit them when nobody's looking. I didn't hit anybody. I bought suits with my credit card. They have my information on file going back 7 years. Or you stole someone's credit card and you've been using it for 7 years. The logic didn't even make sense anymore. Dutton was just throwing accusations at the wall to see what would stick. Whitmore had walked over and was standing behind Dutton, looking increasingly uncomfortable. "Kyle, maybe we should just let him go. Everything's checking out. We don't have probable cause to hold him." "We have plenty of probable cause. We have receipts with his name on them. We have a car registered in his name. We have stores confirming he's a paying customer. What exactly do we have?" Dutton turned on him. "We have a suspect who matches the description." "What description?" "Nobody called in a theft. The description of someone who doesn't belong here." There it was again. Doesn't belong here. Langston felt something cold settle in his stomach. This wasn't about theft. This was never about theft. This was about a black man in an expensive car on a street where Dutton had decided black men didn't belong. A black Escalade pulled up behind the police cruiser, and a man in a gray suit got out. He was white, maybe 50, with silver hair and the kind of walk that said he was used to being listened to. He approached Dutton with his phone already out. "Excuse me, officer. I'm Robert Chen. I own the restaurant across the street. I've been watching this whole thing, and I have to ask, what exactly is this man being detained for?" Dutton turned to face him, his hand instinctively moving toward his belt. "Police business. Move along." "I'm not moving along. I watched you slam him into his car. I watched you dump his belongings all over the street. I watched you handcuff him and throw him in your cruiser. And I haven't seen you produce a single piece of evidence that he's done anything wrong. Are you a lawyer?" "No, but I know what harassment looks like." "Then you can move along before I cite you for interfering with an investigation." Robert Chen didn't move. He held up his phone. "I've got the whole thing recorded from the moment you pulled him over, and so do about 15 other people here." Dutton's face went red. "Delete that footage." "Not a chance." "I said delete it. And I said no. This is a public street. I have every right to record police activity." For a second, Langston thought Dutton might actually grab the phone. His hand twitched toward it, but Whitmore stepped between them. "Kyle, let it go. He's right. He can record." Dutton backed off, but his eyes stayed locked on Chen. "You people think you can just—" "You people?" Chen interrupted. "What people would that be, officer?" Dutton didn't answer. He turned and walked back toward the Mercedes, pulling open the trunk this time. Inside was a leather gym bag and a briefcase. He pulled both out and dropped them on the street. "Kyle, that's enough," Whitmore said, his voice louder now. "We need to either charge him or let him go. We can't keep searching without cause." "I've got cause. He's suspicious." "Being black isn't suspicious." The words hung in the air like smoke. Everyone heard it. The crowd, Robert Chen, Langston. Even Whitmore looked surprised he'd said it out loud. Dutton's face went from red to purple. "What did you just say to me?" "I said what I said. This has gone too far." "You're out of line." "No, you're out of line. You've been out of line since we pulled him over. Everything is checking out clean and you know it. You're just looking for a reason to arrest him because..." "Because what? Say it. Go ahead and say it." Whitmore didn't say it, but everyone knew what he meant. Dutton grabbed the gym bag and unzipped it. Inside were workout clothes, a pair of sneakers, a water bottle, and a towel. He threw everything onto the street anyway, like he was hoping something illegal would magically appear. Langston watched all of this and felt something inside him shift. The humiliation was still there. The anger was still there. But now there was something else. A cold calculation, a mental list being made. Names, badge numbers, witnesses, evidence. Dutton was still searching the trunk when another police cruiser pulled up. Two more officers got out, both younger than Whitmore. One of them looked at the scene and immediately pulled Dutton aside. "What's going on here?" "Suspected theft. I'm conducting a search." "Based on what?" "Based on my judgment." The new officer looked at Langston in the cruiser, at the belongings scattered across the street, at the crowd of people recording everything. His face said he knew exactly what this was. "How long has he been in cuffs?" 40 minutes. "Have you charged him with anything?" Dutton didn't answer. The new officer was a sergeant. His name tag read Martinez, and he had the kind of face that had seen this exact situation play out before. He looked at Dutton, then at the scattered shopping bags, then at Langston sitting in the cruiser with his hands cuffed behind his back for 45 minutes. "Uncuff him right now." Dutton's head snapped up. "Excuse me?" "I said uncuff him. You have no probable cause, no evidence of a crime, and you've detained this man for almost an hour. Either charge him or let him go." "I'm still investigating." "Investigating what? You called 4 stores. They all confirmed he's a customer. His car is registered in his name. His receipts match his ID. What exactly are you investigating?" Dutton's jaw worked, but no words came out. Behind him, Whitmore had his arms crossed, staring at the ground like he wished he could disappear into it. Martinez walked over to the cruiser and opened the door himself. He leaned in and looked at Langston. "Sir, I'm going to remove your handcuffs. I apologize for this situation." Langston didn't respond. He just turned so Martinez could reach the cuffs. When they clicked open, the rush of blood back into his hands was painful. He brought his arms forward slowly, his shoulders burning. "Are you hurt?" Martinez asked quietly. "My wrists, my shoulders, but I'll live." "Do you need medical attention?" "No, I need to leave." Martinez nodded and stepped back. Langston climbed out of the cruiser and stood on Cannon Drive for the first time in almost an hour as a free man. The crowd was still there, still watching, still recording. Dutton was red-faced and pacing. "This is a mistake, I'm telling you, something's not right here." "The only thing not right here is what you just did," Martinez said. "Now apologize to this man." "I'm not apologizing for doing my job." "Then you can explain it to the chief." That's when a black BMW pulled up and double-parked right in the middle of Cannon Drive. A woman stepped out wearing a charcoal suit that looked like it could cost a mortgage payment. She had a leather briefcase in one hand and her phone in the other. Her heels clicked against the pavement as she walked straight toward the scene without hesitation. She looked at Langston first, saw his red wrists, saw the dirt on his suit, saw the exhaustion in his face. Her expression didn't change, but her eyes went cold. "Langston, Sarah," she turned to Martinez. "Who's in charge here?" "I am, Sergeant Martinez." "I'm Sarah Okonkwo. I represent Mr. Mercer. Can you tell me why my client was detained?" "There was a misunderstanding." "A misunderstanding?" She cut him off and pointed at Dutton. "Is that the officer who put him in handcuffs?" Martinez hesitated. "Yes, but..." "Badge number." "Ma'am, I think we should..." "Badge number, now." Dutton stepped forward. His face was still red, but now there was something else in his eyes. Worry. "Look, lady, I don't know who you think you are." Sarah pulled out her phone and made a call. It rang twice before someone picked up. "Hi, this is Sarah Okonkwo. I'm on Cannon Drive with Langston Mercer, who was just detained by BHPD for 45 minutes. "Yes, that Langston Mercer." She paused. "I need the chief's direct line, and I need someone from the mayor's office here in the next 10 minutes. She hung up and looked back at Dutton. "Badge number." Dutton's face had gone pale. "Who did you just call?" "That's not your concern. Your badge number is..." Giovanni came running down the sidewalk at that moment, out of breath. "Langston, I just heard what happened. Are you okay?" "I'm fine, Giovanni." Giovanni looked at the mess of shopping bags on the street, at the police, at the crowd. "What is this? What's going on?" "Your customer was detained for suspected theft," Sarah said without looking away from Dutton. "From your store, apparently." "Theft? He spent $4,200 at my store an hour ago. I watched him pay." "What theft?" Dutton opened his mouth, but nothing came out. Robert Chen pushed through the crowd, holding his phone up. "I've got everything recorded, from the moment he was pulled out of the car, the assault, the illegal search, all of it." Sarah took his phone and watched the video. Her face didn't change, but her jaw tightened. When she handed it back, she looked at Martinez. "I'm going to need copies of every body cam from every officer on this scene. I'm going to need the dash cam footage. I'm going to need dispatch records showing why this stop was initiated. And I'm going to need it within 24 hours, or I'm filing a federal civil rights lawsuit before sunrise tomorrow. Martinez looked like he wanted to sink into the ground. Ma'am, I understand you're upset. Upset doesn't begin to cover it. She turned to Langston. Did they read you your rights? No. Did they tell you what you were being detained for? Suspected theft, matching a description. It kept changing. Did they allow you to make a phone call? No. Did they ask for consent before searching your vehicle? No. Sarah pulled out a notebook and started writing. Every answer was another nail in Dutton's career. Another car pulled up. This one had city government plates. A man in his 50s got out wearing a suit and a tie that looked hastily put on. He walked straight to Sarah. Ms. Okonkwo, I got your message. Deputy Mayor Richardson, thank you for coming. Richardson looked at Langston and his face went from confused to horrified in about 3 seconds. Langston, what the hell happened? I got pulled over for driving while black. Richardson turned to Martinez. Explain, right now. Martinez tried. He really did. But every sentence that came out of his mouth made it worse. Suspected theft with no reported theft. Detained for 45 minutes with no charges. Searched without consent. Handcuffed despite being compliant. When he finished, Richardson looked at Dutton like he was looking at a dead man. You detained Langston Mercer? The Langston Mercer who donated $3 million to renovate the Children's Hospital? The one who's on the Economic Advisory Board? The one who had breakfast with the mayor last week? Dutton's face had gone completely white. I didn't know? You didn't know? Richardson's voice went up. Or you didn't care? The body camera footage went viral within 6 hours. Someone from the crowd had posted their recording on social media, and by 11 p.m. that night, it had 3 million views. By morning, it was on every news channel in California. CNN picked it up by noon. The headline was always some version of the same story. Beverly Hills police detained Black Tech CEO for shopping while black. Dutton was suspended without pay by 8 a.m. the next morning. The official statement from the Beverly Hills Police Department was careful and corporate, full of words like reviewing the incident and committed to accountability. But everyone knew what it meant. His career was over. Whitmore was suspended too, pending investigation. He'd stood there and watched it happen. He'd questioned Dutton twice, but he never stopped him. He never called a supervisor. He never stepped in. In the eyes of the department and the public, that made him just as guilty. Sarah Okonkwo filed a federal civil rights lawsuit 3 days later. The amount was $4.5 million. The lawsuit named Dutton, Whitmore, and the Beverly Hills Police Department. It cited unlawful detention, illegal search and seizure, excessive force, racial profiling, and violation of constitutional rights. The filing was 47 pages long, and it included timestamps from 3 different phone recordings, body camera footage that the department had tried to delay releasing, and sworn statements from 12 witnesses. The mayor held a press conference 4 days after the incident. He stood at a podium in City Hall with Langston sitting in the front row. The mayor talked about reform and accountability and how this didn't represent the values of Beverly Hills. He announced a full review of the police department's training procedures and promised new policies on racial bias. It was the kind of speech politicians give when they're trying to get ahead of a scandal. Langston sat there and didn't say a word. He didn't have to. His presence said everything. The department's internal investigation took 2 weeks. They interviewed witnesses, reviewed footage, pulled dispatch records, and examined Dutton's complaint history. What they found was a pattern. 7 complaints in 3 years. 4 of them involved black men, 3 involved unnecessary force. All of them had been dismissed with minimal investigation. The department had known exactly who Dutton was, and they'd done nothing about it. Dutton was fired on a Tuesday morning. No ceremony, no hearing. Just a letter delivered to his house telling him his employment was terminated, effective immediately. His pension was under review. His police certification was being challenged. He'd worked for BHPD for 9 years, and it was gone in a single paragraph. Whitmore resigned before they could fire him. He wrote a statement saying he was ashamed of his inaction and that he should have done more. It didn't matter. His career in law enforcement was finished. No department in California was going to hire either of them after what happened. The settlement came 5 months later. The city of Beverly Hills paid Langston $4.5 million to avoid going to trial. It was one of the largest civil rights settlements in the city's history. Langston donated every penny of it to the ACLU and to organizations that provided legal defense for people who couldn't afford attorneys like Sarah Okonkwo, people who got pulled over and harassed and violated, but didn't have the resources to fight back. He gave one interview about the incident. Just one. It was with a reporter from the LA Times who asked him how it felt to win. "I didn't win," Langston said. "I survived. There's a difference. I had money and lawyers and connections, and it still took 5 months to get justice. What about everyone else? What about the people who don't have what I have? They're still out there getting pulled over, still getting handcuffed, still getting humiliated on the side of the road. That's who I think about." The reporter asked if he thought things would change. Langston looked at her for a long moment before answering. Not fast enough. The video of his detention was still online, still being shared, still getting comments. Some people said he was a hero. Some said he was making it about race when it wasn't. Some said Dutton was just doing his job. The comments section was exactly what you'd expect. A war zone of opinions from people who'd never been face down on hot concrete for the crime of being successful while black. But there were other comments too, from people who said they'd been through the same thing. Different cities, different cops, same story. They thanked him for speaking up, for not staying quiet, for using his platform to shine a light on something that happened every day to people nobody cared about. Langston read those comments sometimes, late at night when he couldn't sleep, when he thought about Cannon Drive and Dutton's knee in his back and the feeling of cold metal on his wrists. He read them and he remembered why the settlement money went to people who needed it more than he did. Because he'd gotten justice. But justice shouldn't require a Forbes profile and a lawyer on speed dial and the deputy mayor showing up to save you. Justice should be for everyone, even when the cameras aren't rolling. If this story made you think twice about the assumptions we make about people based on how they look, share it with someone who needs to hear it. Real change starts with real conversations. Drop a comment below telling us one thing you're going to do differently after hearing this story. And remember, subscribe so you never miss stories that matter.